Skirret, Salsify, Cardoon, Sea-kale, Rampion, Martynia, Chufa. In 1880, those were ordinary things to plant. Not curiosities and not one gardener's hobby, ordinary. You could buy the seed by mail, and your neighbours knew what to do with it. In 1863, a Massachusetts seedsman named Fearing Burr described nearly 1,100 vegetables grown in America. All 7 of these are in there, with instructions like anything else in the book. Today, you will not find one of them in a grocery store. There is a famous statistic about why, and it has been repeated for 40 years. It is wrong. Somebody found the arithmetic error. What actually happened to these 7 is more interesting, and it is still happening. Start with the one that stopped being food first. Skirret is a root, and it does not come up the way a carrot does. One crown gives you a cluster of roots, each about as thick as a finger. They are sweet. Sweet enough that people ate them as a treat, not as a chore. Before the potato took over, skirret was one of the roots Europe leaned on. Burr's instruction is almost a shrug. Dress it the way you would dress Salsify. Which brings up the second one, and the strangest sales pitch in the seed trade. Salsify is a long white taproot, and its other name is the vegetable oyster. That is what people said it tasted like when you cooked it. Whether it actually does is a debate you can still start at a dinner table. There is a black-skinned cousin called scorzonera that was grown the same way. Both were common. Both are now a specialty seed you order on purpose. The third one is a plant you have almost certainly seen and not recognized. A cardoon is a close relative of the artichoke. 6 feet of silver leaves and spines. Nobody eats the head. The crop is the leaf stalks, and they are bitter as they stand. So you blanch them. You wrap the plant, or you bank soil up around it. You leave it wrapped for weeks in the dark, and the stalks come out pale and mild. That is 4 to 6 weeks of a plant sitting in your garden, doing nothing you can see. Number 4 asks for more patience than that. Sea-kale is a perennial from the coast, and it is grown by force in late winter. You set a pot over the crown, so no light reaches it at all. The plant sends up shoots looking for the light, and they come up pale and tender. You cut them, and the season is over, and you wait a year. Number 5, you already know, though not as a vegetable. Rampion is a bellflower with a small white root, eaten root and leaf, mostly in salad. It is the plant in the Rapunzel story. That is what the girl was named after. It was a real crop in real gardens, and Burr files it under salad plants. Number 6 is the one that stops people in the row. Martynia was grown for the seed pods, picked young and green and pickled like cucumbers. Bernard Maman of Philadelphia was selling the seed in 1805. It shows up under American cultivation by 1841, and in cookbooks through that decade. If you leave the pod on the plant, it dries and splits into 2 long hooks. That is why the other name for it is devil's claw. The 7th one was grown to be dug up by hogs. Chufa is a sedge that makes small, sweet tubers down in the soil. Burr says raw or roasted, and calls the flavour pleasant and nut-like. In the south, you planted a patch and turned the hogs into it to root them out. 7 crops, every one of them documented, ordinary, and gone from ordinary farms. Which brings us to the statistic. In 1903, the Department of Agriculture published an inventory of the vegetable seed on the market. In 1983, a group went back and checked that list against a national seed bank. The finding was reported by Kerry Fowler and Pat Mooney, and it landed hard. 97% of the 1903 varieties were gone, a 3% survival rate. That number went everywhere. It is in documentaries, in seed catalogues, on the back of packets, in 1,000 articles. It is quoted at garden club meetings by people who have never seen the study. It is the number I would have used to open this episode 10 years ago. In 2009, 2 researchers at the University of Georgia went back to check it. Paul Heald and Susanna Chapman reran the comparison against the same 1903 inventory. They found a mathematical error in the original study. The survival rate is not 3%, it is 7.4. More than double once you fix the arithmetic and account for duplicate names. The duplicate names turn out to matter more than the arithmetic. W. Tracy compiled that 1903 list, and he left a warning in it. Variety names, he wrote, were being multiplied every year by renaming old varieties. The same seed, sold by 4 companies, under 4 names, counted 4 times. So the 1903 list was never a count of distinct plants, it was a count of labels. Then Heald and Chapman ran the number that actually settles it. In 1903, there were 7,262 varieties across 48 vegetable crops. In 2004, across those same 48 crops, there were 2.2% fewer, 2%, over 101 years. Old seed was kept by preservationists. New seed came in from abroad, and breeders made more. Their conclusion was that there is no overall loss of varietal diversity across the 20th century, which sounds like it should be the end of the episode. It isn't, because the 7 crops we started with are still missing. Both things are true, and the reason they are both true is the useful part. The count held steady inside the crops that stayed. There are as many tomatoes as there ever were, more probably. What dropped out were whole species, and they did not drop out at random. Look at what the 7 have in common, and it is not flavour. Nobody stopped growing Skirret because it tasted bad. It tastes better than a parsnip. Cardoon and Sea-kale need weeks of blanching before the crop is worth cutting. Martynia pods are good for about 3 days, and then they are hooks. Rampion wilts. Skirret comes up as a forked cluster that is slow to wash and impossible to grade. Chufa tubers come out of the ground one at a time. A machine cannot pick any of that, and a truck cannot carry most of it. What the 20th century selected for was not taste and not even yield. It selected for crops that ripen predictably, grade uniformly, and survive being shipped. Every crop on this list fails at least one of those, and most fail all 3. They were not beaten. They were dropped because they cost attention. That sorting did not stop in 1930. Your own garden runs the same test every year. The crop you quit growing is almost never the one that failed. It is the one that needed you on a particular Tuesday, and you were not there. Blanch the cardoon or don't, and you either have a vegetable or a thistle. Sea-kale asks for a decision in February about something you eat in March. None of that is difficult. It is only invisible unless somebody writes it down. We did not lose the varieties. We lost the vegetables that only pay you back if you are there on the right day. Skirret, Salsify, Cardoon, Sea-kale, Rampion, Martynia, Chufa. All 7 are still available. Every one of them is a specialist seed now, and every one of them will grow for you. If you plant something unusual this year, keep a page on it, what you sowed and what happened. Ours is a printable seasonal garden planner. Bed layouts, sowing schedule, harvest log, crop rotation. Link below. There is a free harvest and ripeness sheet down there too. That's the Harker Hill Almanac.